What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this beautiful Friday evening, man? It has been a while since I went live here, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing, everybody? What is going on? Big shout out to everybody that's currently in the chat right now. Thank you so very much. It's been an absolute minute since I've done this, but we're going to get started here, ladies and gentlemen. We actually have a interview from Michael Bidwill himself. Now, if you guys do not know or you do not follow the local radio station here, 98.7, they do it's like a weekly thing, where they're talking to like the people that make the decisions. And of course, Michael Bidwill went ahead and gave an interview over for the radio station. And I was told by, one of my subscribers that I got to listen to it. And I thought, what better way to do that but to do it live and also react to it at the same time. Obviously, if you guys have any questions or comments, you could definitely chime in on the comments below, guys. But that's what we're going to be doing today. And I heard that he actually answers a lot of questions. Our fearless leader is finally answering all the questions that, obviously all the drama with Kyler Murray, all the craziness that we're seeing coming into free agency here. Are we going to be able to retain all these big time players when we don't really have a lot of money? But hopefully he can kind of shine a little light at the end of the tunnel so we can maybe, break it down together and really come down to the nitty gritty of what Michael Bidwill is going to say to the fans. And about the Cardinal organization, because this year going into the 2022 season, we got a lot to work on, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to work on. Free agency is coming, the draft is coming, and we're going to be seeing a whole different team looking into the 2022 season. So hopefully good things up ahead, but that's what we're going to be doing today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about or listening to Michael Bidwill's interview and reacting to it on his interview on 98.7 FM, the radio station, the Arizona sports radio station here locally. So let's get started here, ladies and gentlemen. I think it starts off with an intro. I haven't heard this quite yet, but we're going to be listening to it together. So let's take a look.
For Newsmakers Week, as we wrap things up on this Friday, the owner of the Arizona Cardinals,
Here we go.
Bidwill, kind enough to join us for two segments this morning. Michael, good morning to you. How are you?
Vince, good morning. I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Hopefully everybody can hear.
Thanks. We'll start with the end of the season. Another disappointing end to the season. And last year, Michael, you were very open about your disappointment about the way the 2020 season wrapped up. A little different this year, a playoff berth, but a disappointing performance. How would you compare what you're feeling this season going into the offseason as opposed to what you were feeling going into the 2020 offseason?
Great question. Let me just start off by saying that. I'm just going to pause it real quick. Great question. My goodness. I want to hear from the owner. Now, obviously, we heard a lot of rumblings that Michael Bidwill wasn't happy, and we made videos about it. What is he going to do? I honestly thought we were going to see some heads roll. I really did. But the patientness of Michael Bidwill and being that Kime and Cliff are still under contract, this definitely might be their year right here, but let's keep it going.
Well, this year, certainly, you look at the beginning of the season, starting 7-0, 10-2, being in a position where everything was going great, and then DeAndre Hopkins unfortunately gets injured, and things started to really become a little more challenged at that point. But I'm certainly more optimistic about where we're going and the direction we're going, much more optimistic, I should say, and excited about our future.
When I take a look at this, Michael, I think me, like many other people, it was a very emotional end to a season that at one point in time seemed incredibly hopeful. Now that you kind of back away from it, you can kind of take solace in the fact that this football team at one point was 10-2, and you were the best team in football. So
very emotional.
How do you go about building on that, on extrapolating the good and sort of getting the problems out of the way going forward?
Dan, I think it's a great question. And when I look at it, it's really about, you look at the backdrop and, there were a couple of challenges. Obviously the drop off at the end of the season, our home record was disappointing. That's something that we need to address in the off season. But the other thing is it looks like these COVID clouds are clearing. And when you think about the off seasons, the draft choices never have a full off season, as you know. But after that, we never had a full off season program with Kyler Murray in this offense. It was all interrupted by the COVID rules. So they were not working out in the off season. So it looks like that.
Okay, this is absolutely correct. I mean, he's right in that, but oh, the politically correctness kind of, it irks me. But I understand, they're still employed. He's not going to come out and say anything. I understand. I know.
We'll have a full off season with this offense, and I couldn't be more excited about what that is going to yield. We've got a very tough division. We know it.
Yeah,
we're excited about the off season, free agency coming up. We've got a focus. I know Steve's focused on free agency and getting some key free agents re-signed.
Oh, is he now?
It's going to be a fun off season. I think it's going to be a fun 2022 season as well.
Arizona Cardinals owner Michael Bidwill, our guest during Newsmakers Week here on 98.7 FM, Arizona Sports Station. Obviously, there's a lot of theories out there on why the season ended the way that it did. And I know behind closed doors, you guys are trying to figure it out as well. You mentioned in your answer, Michael, about the DeAndre Hopkins injury. Certainly the offense looked different. Is that, in your mind, the biggest reason, or do you have another theory on why what happened?
Yes, ask him.
I think it's a combination of things. Certainly DeAndre's impact on the field and off the field, it's huge. And losing him, not only from a football X's and O's standpoint, but also from an emotional standpoint, was big. Kyler got injured. He was out for 3 games. I think he certainly before the injury, he was playing at the top of his game, and I think he came back, and so I think having a healthy Kyler Murray is always better than Kyler coming off of an injury. So I think there were this team has got a bright future, and I'm excited about it, especially knowing those guys are coming back 100%.
Now, there were reports today that everything is copacetic between the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. And again, we in the media, we've had to do a lot of guessing based on a lot of silly stuff. Nonsense is what the way Kyler Murray termed it. As an owner who's got a very good reputation, as an owner who's been very player friendly, as an owner that players trust to do the right thing by them, how have you approached this? And are you in a really good place now with Kyler Murray?
Yes, there was a report out here that came out earlier. And like I said, these days we're all going based off what we see in Twitter. Sources say this, sources say that. But yes, I have seen that, him and Michael Bidwill and Kyler Murray ended up talking yesterday on Thursday, and everything seems to be hunky-dory. But I don't know. Let's just keep listening.
So I spoke to him last night. We've had good conversations, nonstop. I'm not a social media guy, so I don't know the nuances of some of this stuff, but I think there was a lot of interpretation around that was inconsistent with the conversations that not just I have had, but I know Cliff and Steve have had. And so the positive conversations that are going in the right direction. We know we've got to get better. I mean, you saw that Kyler put out a statement, love me or hate me, I think was his terms. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get better. Well, put me in the category of I love him, and I know he's going to get better.
Michael Bitt.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. For the people who hate Kyler Murray, Michael Bidwill, obviously he needs to say these things. He is still our quarterback. I don't expect anything less from him saying that he put him in the love category. I mean, that obviously makes sense. I'm still backing Kyler Murray as well, although we know that he's got some things to work on. I do hope he takes this into consideration, because as Michael Bidwill says, we are now going to have our whole off season ahead of us because of, COVID restrictions being lifted and stuff like that. How much truth I have to that, or if it's more of a politically correct kind of answer, whatever the situation is, let's just keep listening.
The owner of the Arizona Cardinals, our guest here on Bickley and Murata Mornings during Newsmakers Week. Elaborating on that, I don't think it's fair for anybody to expect Kyler Murray, despite his immense talent and the fact that he was the number 1 overall pick, to be a finished product at this point. Specifically, and it's always a growth process for NFL quarterbacks that reach that elite level, but specifically, where would you like to see improvement from Kyler Murray?
Ooh, good question.
Well, I think, when you look at it, this offseason is going to be really important. He's gotten better every year. And I know with a full off season, he's going to get a lot better this year. And I'm excited about that.
When you look at Kyler, how comfortable are you?
Okay, I'm sorry. I was expecting a different answer. What are some things we need Kyler Murray to work on? I can tell you right now, personally, throwing up the middle, knowing when to get rid of the ball. It's okay to play for the next down, get rid of the ball type of thing. Throwing up the middle, and those are the two big ones that kind of really stick to me. Obviously, Kyler Murray is my quarterback. I just want to see him healthy throughout an entirety of the season, and hopefully we see that coming into the 2022 season.
In the support system around him to get the best out of him over the course of 16, 17 game regular season and then whatever the playoffs might entail. How can that be better improved to help grow him maybe in a cleaner way going forward?
Well, we're never going to stop pursuing ideas to get better. But when you look at where we were going into the season, it's 7-0 and 10-2, and he was in the MVP conversation. And then we started having injuries. I think we were doing a lot of things right. He was doing a lot of things right. But there's no doubt there are other areas where we will, change some things up. And looking at the home record, we're going to be doing things that with every part of our operation as we look to 2022.
Cliff Kingsbury as an NFL head coach, 3 years under his belt. There's been a lot of good.
Talk about him.
The finishes have been brought up by a lot of people, something that's followed him from the college ranks. But where, Michael, do you think Cliff Kingsbury has made the biggest strides as an NFL head coach during his tenure?
Biggest strides for me before listening to him, he's gotten better in terms of 5 wins, 8 wins, 11 wins. But there's still a lot of stuff that plagues Cliff Kingsbury, and that is he's not really able to adjust towards the end of the season. We're not winning big games. A few other things, obviously, that I want to talk about Cliff Kingsbury. We're not going to completely stick about that, but that's just my take on it. Let's keep listening.
Well, I go back to that record, and I know people focus on the finish, but we've already talked about the factors that contributed to that. And I look at the college coaches who have made the transition from college to the pros, and the ones that are successful, and Cliff is, I feel like have had an adjustment period. He's had a few years to adjust, and I feel like he's just going to get better and better because he understands the pro rules and the pro game and the pro speed and everything else much better than he did a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. I gotta stop. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, no duh, my guy. 3 years, you better know it. You know what I mean? You better know it each year a lot better. Oh, okay. Yes, I agree.
I like how you brought up the home record a couple of different times because this is something that a lot of people can't wrap their brain around. It. As you've dug down into this issue, what do you think explains it, and how are you guys trying to address? Because at one point in time, you know this, Michael, you brought that stadium to Glendale. There was a real rabid home field advantage, and the team responded to it, and that hasn't been the case for a couple of seasons now.
Facts, bro. Facts. We should be winning at home. There's absolutely no excuse. It's been happening for the last 2 years. It's ridiculous why we can't figure it out. Makes no sense. Why it takes 2 years to figure it out is absolutely boggling to me.
No, and you're absolutely right. It's NFL teams have to win at home, and so we're still answering those questions. I'm sure that we're going to continue to be focused on it and studying it as we go into the off season, and it'll be a discussion with our players too, because ultimately it's about how we're playing at home. And so it's going to be, I'm excited to get the team back in the building for the off season program and really to get focused on that. And we've brought a lot of leadership. Steve has done, I think, a great job. The signing of J.J. Watt, the trade for Zach Ertz, the trade for DeAndre Hopkins, the trade for Rodney Hudson. We brought a lot of great leadership, and he's brought a lot of great leadership, and we're going to be leaning on those folks, I'm certain, as we go forward. And those are going to be questions that we'll be answering in the off season. But we got to get the guys back in the building because they're part of the equation, and we want their input.
Talk about the draft.
Bidwill, the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, kind enough to spend 2 segments with us today here on Newsmakers Week. Day 4. Michael, we'll just pop you on hold real quick. A quick break, and we'll come back. We'll continue our conversation. We appreciate it.
Sure
Oh.
thing.
Thanks, Michael Bidwill. Our conversation.
Okay, cool. Let's just turn it down here real quick until the next one starts here, ladies and gentlemen. So, obviously, with the whole Steve Keim situation, they're buddies. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. They're buddy. I didn't expect anything less from Michael Bidwill to say anything. You know, bringing in huge big players, J.J. Watts, Zach Ertz, Hudson, on some really good trades. We've been talking about it for a very long time on this channel. The issue is with Steve Keim isn't about him not bringing talent in like via trade. I think he's wonderful at that. I think that's the best thing he's able to do. The big trades. That's what Keim does very well at. What he doesn't do very well is drafting, and free agency is very kind of hit and miss in my personal opinion. So obviously we're not going to have Michael Bidwill say that. He's the owner. He's buddy. He's still employed. But this year is going to be absolutely huge for Cliff and for Steve Keim. And hopefully they know that.
And Vic mentioned the reports of everything being okay with copacetic between player and organization.
Next segment.
But we also know that Kyler Murray is eligible for a contract extension at this point.
Contract extension. Now, hear me out here, ladies and gentlemen. The whole Kyler Murray scrubbing his old Instagram thing, I think it stemmed from this. I think it stemmed from contract negotiations. I really do. In my hearts of hearts, I feel like maybe his sports agent told him, hey, maybe you should do this. Hey, maybe you should try this. And I think it kind of got blown out of proportion. I really do. Obviously, the media kind of went ahead and got hold of it. The terrible look of what we looked like in the playoffs, it just kind of blew out of proportion. And I do think it's all kind of extending from he wants to get paid. And if I was a player, I would be in the same boat.
And a lot of fans are wondering about, what's in the future on that front. Can you comment on where you are maybe in that process?
Well, when you look at it, the window has just opened for a contract extension. Certainly, he's part of our long-term plan. These contracts.
There you go. A part of our long-term plan, Kyler Murray. But Josh Rosen was our quarterback at that moment, Steve Keim said. So I'm not going to really take that too much into consideration, but I do think that Kyler Murray is our long-term plan.
Especially the quarterback contracts are very complicated. And so when you look at it, most of the big ones are done, further down the road. I think Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen were done in the summertime. Others were done in the summertime. But so we've got time. But they're complicated. So, and we also have other priorities. Free agency starts here in just a couple of weeks.
That it does.
As well as we've got to get some guys re-signed. And so the salary cap, that's all, it's one big pie, and you're making room for a big new piece of the pie that's going to replace the rookie contract. And so, again, the structure of it, the timing of it, it's a complicated process, and it takes some time. And in the meantime, we've got to get some key free agents re-signed. There are going to be other free agents out there that you'll need to ask Steve about the specifics around what he plans to do. But,
Steve's not going to tell us anything.
I know we're going to be aggressive, and I know that Kyler's a part of our long-term plan.
I'm looking at Calais Campbell on TV right now. That wouldn't be a bad option for you there, Michael. All right, let me ask you one last Kyler Murray question.
I love Calais Campbell. I really do. I really, really do. I just don't see him this point into his career bringing him back. I can't see it happen, but we'll see.
Critical of Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not going to run from that. I also admit that I'm not always right, and you know that to be a fact as well. Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray together, how is their bond after what happened at the end of the season?
Ooh, good question.
I think it's good. You'll need to ask those two about it, but I think it's very good. Again, the conversations have continued to go on, and in the offseason, or in the last few weeks since the season ended. It's only been about 4 or 5 weeks, and we've got a bright future together. And all the Cliff, Kyler, Steve, all of us have got to make great contributions as we go forward, and I know that they've got a great relationship.
Michael Bidwill, the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, our guest during Newsmakers Week here on Bickley and Murata Mornings. You've referenced free agency getting ready to start up, and it's always a very important process in any offseason for any team. But I'll throw a name out there that a lot of fans have on their minds, and that's Chandler Jones,
Ooh,
who had a tremendous.
we're going with Chandler already. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
Beginning to the season, kind of up and down the rest of the season.
I'm sorry. Before we get started, let me know in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Keep Chandler, so pay the man, or let him walk. Let me know in the chat below, everybody.
A lot of the similarities with what we just went through with Kyler Murray and social media, that was talked about earlier with Chandler Jones. Is Chandler Jones part of the future of the Arizona Cardinals?
Good question.
I can tell you we love Chandler and would love to have him back. The devil's in the details. I'll leave that up to Steve and Chandler's representatives to work on. But we love Chandler, what he's done for us in the past and hopefully in the future as well.
I know you take a lot of pride in making Arizona and Glendale part of the Super Bowl rotation, as you should. That
seems like they love him, but I mean, right? Well, what do we expect him to say? We don't love him. He's gonna walk. Yeah. I'm seeing some people here say pay the man, tag him. Hey, tagging him won't be a bad option, but I'm not even sure what our salary cap looks like, honestly. If we're going to be aggressive in free agency, which that kind of makes me really excited, honestly, as a fan, but we'll see.
Easy thing to accomplish. I'm sure you also know you can be the third consecutive team to win a Super Bowl in your own building.
Don't jinx it.
Tell us about this year's Super Bowl and how you're framing that.
Well, it's a great honor to have it back for a third time at State Farm Stadium and a fourth time here in Arizona. It's going to give us another opportunity to showcase our great state and our great community to the world. And it
we do have a great
does not go unnoticed to me that the two prior sites, the local team won the Super Bowl, and certainly I've emphasized that in my conversations with everyone. And it would be great to be able to hoist the Lombardi Trophy for the first time in front of our hometown. And so it's going to be a great. Jay Perry and her team with the Super Bowl host committee are doing a fantastic job getting ready for it. And they started during the
yeah, shout out here, man. We got the Super Bowl here next year. That's something that we haven't really talked about very much, just because obviously the way the season ended, we had so much other things to talk about. But my goodness, man, the Super Bowl is coming to Glendale, Arizona, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, the excitement level is just right here. Oh, it's over this hair right now.
So it's not been the easiest thing to plan, but now that it looks like those clouds of the pandemic are clearing a little bit, she's off and running, and I couldn't be more excited about what this game is going to do for Arizona. Last time around, it was a $720 million economic impact to the Valley, and State Farm Stadium has certainly been an economic engine. We've put $150 million worth of investments into State Farm Stadium. Wow. and our properties around it. And as you know, we're developing right now the BetMGM Sportsbook out on the Great Lawn. We've developed a fan pavilion out there. I think those are going to be key pieces.
That's true. I did see that.
Some of the other upgrades that we've done to State Farm Stadium.
We know when the Super Bowl is at State Farm Stadium, obviously the community rallies around it, that the host committee does a great job. It's a great event. The games themselves have been fantastic, both Super Bowls at State Farm Stadium. My question, though, Michael, is with new stadiums in Las Vegas. We just saw a Super Bowl held in Los Angeles. How much more difficult does it become for Arizona to lure the Super Bowl? Or do you think that rotation just becomes too deeper now? And instead of every 8 years, you're looking at an every 10-year Super Bowl in Arizona?
Mm-hmm.
I guess time will tell. It's going to be more competitive for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But the NFL's modified its process about how these games are decided. And I'm excited about the one we've got coming up. And the best thing, I tell everybody this, the best thing we can do to win another Super Bowl is do a really good job on the Super Bowl we've got in front of us. And I know Jay and her team will do a great job of that. And Dave Rousseau, who's chairing it. And I should mention somebody whose name is familiar with your audience. Larry Fitzgerald is the executive chairman of the Super Bowl host committee. And
okay, I just heard Larry Fitzgerald. I had to pause it real quick. I got a quick super chat from my guy BBHALB. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much. First super chat of the night. He says Super Bowl party at the stadium with Mike. Let's go, dude. That would be amazing, bro. I still got to make it out to the game. So this coming year, obviously my baby girl will be obviously over a year, so I don't have to worry about always being home with my wife. So I can maybe possibly go to a few games this coming year. I'm super stoked. Let's get the season going. Appreciate the super chat.
Is added a degree of excitement and excellence to the team at the host committee. And David Rousseau agreeing to chair this for a second time around is just a huge lift.
My guy Justin's asking, why do you say another Super Bowl? Just because we had other Super Bowls here in Arizona as well. I think the last time it was here, it was when the Seahawks played the Patriots. 2014, 2015, around there. I think that's around the year.
The president of the board of directors of Salt River Project, and he does so much for the community, and he's a great partner on this, and I'm excited.
Larry.
All right, now that you bring up Larry Fitzgerald, I've got to ask you, because there's a lot of fans who desperately want to cheer for him one last time, who want to honor him one last time. Can you share anything with us about what Larry in the future in terms of Ring of Honor, anything regarding Larry Fitzgerald?
Oh yeah.
There's no question that he's going into our Ring of Honor. There's no question that he's going to be a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer, and there's no question that he's going to continue to be a great Arizona leader, beacon of light, and community champion. And I'm so grateful that he's helping out with the Super Bowl, and he's done such a wonderful job. And we all know Larry did such a great job on the field, in the locker room, and off the field as a Cardinal. But it's great to see him a part of the community and staying here and being a part of the great things that we're going to do in the future.
All right, here's the other thing from my perception that fans really want. They really would like to see you bust out some new uniforms.
Oh boy, here we go. This is what I was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is right here what I was talking about. New uniforms. We're finally asking the question to the man, the owner, that's going to be shelling out the money if it is. But I 100% agree. Larry Fitzgerald deserves to be first ballot Hall of Famer and in the Ring of Honor. 100%.
Curious your thoughts on a redesign, or is it something where, because I know that you've done a great job at honoring your late father, and is this a concession to my dad loved tradition, so I don't want to mess with that, or is this something that you are going to be looking at in the near future?
No, we look at all these things, and as you probably know, these things, there's a timeline for them, and it takes time. And so it's something that among the array of things that we look at around the team, it's on the radar screen. So appreciate the question. To your point, we're gonna honor tradition. And
okay. Okay, wait a second. It's on the horizon. It's something that they're talking about. So everybody's hearing, all the chatter on Twitter, all the chatter on social media, I'm assuming got to the ear of Michael Bidwill in the possibility, maybe, is there? Possibly. I mean, that's all we want, right? So you're telling me there's a chance. That's all I want.
At the same time. So it's part of the array of things that we look at, and it's on the radar screen.
But not necessarily in progress.
It's on the radar screen. Things take time, guys.
Michael, I'm a little.
It's on the radar screen, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
Lord, I'm just proud of my partner for asking the uniform question. Normally it's me asking that question. Right. Michael, thanks so much for carving out some time for us, answering questions that the fans had on the.
That is the conclusion of Michael Bidwill's interview, and it did not disappoint, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, there was a lot of me kind of, but I think when you think about it, the politically correctness coming from Michael Bidwill, the owner, you don't want to stir anything up. Although we would love to hear the drama because we love drama. We're not going to hear that. We're going to hear the most politically correct thing we could possibly think of. And that's exactly what Michael Bidwill gave us. Talked about Kyler Murray. He had a conversation with him on yesterday, which was going to be on Thursday. Everything seems to be good. He's saying the relationship between Cliff and Kyler seems to be good. They're having communication with each other. He gave kudos to Steve Kleiman building out this team with the veteran additions that he brought in, J.J. Watt, Zach Ertz, Rodney Hudson. Didn't mention anything about the draft or free agency, but he did say that he expects the Arizona Cardinals to be aggressive. the Arizona Cardinals to be aggressive in free agency. Now, if you guys do not know, free agency is just around the corner, probably about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks away. But my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to come very, very swiftly. And I'm very excited to see exactly what this is going to look like. The new Arizona Cardinals, the 2022 Arizona Cardinals, obviously with Kyler Murray back on there, because Kyler Murray is here to stay. Whether you love him or you hate him, Kyler Murray is going to be the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals in 2022. I have no doubt in my mind. With all the drama that ended up happening, I think it all kind of stemmed from a contract extension that he wanted. And he probably got some advice from his sports agent, which, let's be honest, those are the guys that are talking in these athletes' ears, and they have done it before. So he probably tried to use a tactic, and it completely turned around 180, and everybody started to panic. Obviously, the way that the season ended, there's a lot of pissed off fans right now that are really upset with Cliff. They don't like Steve Keim. A lot of people has turned on Kyler Murray already. And honestly, at this very moment, I kind of am in a point where we're out of the season. The Super Bowl's over, although I hate the result that an LA team won. I think when I really kind of step back and say, okay, let's look into the 2022 season. We have another opportunity of the playoffs, another opportunity of the Lombardi. What can the Cardinals do from here? And that excites me. That gets me super excited. That gets me pumped up. So super excited about what's going to happen here for the Arizona Cardinals moving forward. Another super chat here from my guy BBH with another, so a $10 donation. He says, sounds like Larry Fitzgerald is retired. He should be part of the Ring of Honor this season, 100%. Hope he has one more run in him, though. And where can I get fire merch? I've been waiting for a while, by the way. Oh, awesome. Appreciate you, man. So all you have to do on the description of this video, if you click on the description, it should expand and I'll have all my links on there. I have my second channel. I have my other channel that I'm starting up, which is called the NFC West Network. If you guys aren't familiar with that, we're trying to put some more content onto there as well, just so you can get a good scope of the entirety of the NFC West, just not Cardinals. Everything is in the description below of this video. There's one called, get your merch. Just click on that link. It'll take you to Teesprings. And then there's other links down there for my other channels as well, if you guys are interested. Appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so very much. So yeah, a lot of exciting things, y'all. A lot of exciting things here moving on for the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm excited. I am. I think the biggest takeaway here, if you guys weren't here while we were listening to owner Michael Bidwill talking about the Arizona Cardinals 22 chances, is we're going to be aggressive in free agency. But I'm very curious to figure out how much cap room do the Arizona Cardinals actually have? Because if you look at a lot of third-party websites, over the cap, and there's another one called, but Over the Cap is the one I really use a lot, or Sport Tech, I think that's the one. But Over the Cap kind of has us projected about 23 million. 25 million, which obviously to an average Joe, if you're asking somebody, you got 25 million, you're like, oh snap, I could do a lot with that $25 million. But in the NFL, it's obviously different. You got to be strategic. You got to make sure that you're getting the right players available. I am never the biggest fan of building in free agency. I mean, obviously everybody saw the way that the Rams did it. They built through trading all their picks. I don't think the Cardinals are fortunate that way. I don't think we're lucky like that. I feel like we still need to take a book or a page out of the way that Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals built their team out. They have a very young team in Joe Burrow, in those wide receivers. And honestly, I think if the Cardinals kind of take a look and say that's what we should be doing, I think Steve Keim should really second guess his last draft picks and really start focusing on this next one and give some weapons to Kyler Murray that he can use. Enough of the 5'10 guys. I think they're great. I think they're wonderful. But I think in the grand scheme of things, we need the big body wide receivers. We need AJ Green, but not AJ Green. Obviously, when he was in his prime, we need the DeAndre Hopkins. We need to get a young stud in the draft, a big, tall guy that's going to be able to jump up and get those 50-50 balls. That's what we need. Enough of these, small guys, Rondo Moore, Andy Isabella. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly what's going to happen with Christian Kirk, but we have a lot of free agents in our end that we still have yet to figure out are we going to retain these players? Whether you think, Christian Kirk is the most talented wide receiver out there in the free agency market, we still got to use them to his full potential. Like that's the job of the head coach. The job of the GM is to build the team, put everything together. This is your roster. And obviously the head coach is to put them in the best position to succeed. And we've seen some flashes from Christian Kirk, and I was really excited about him towards the beginning of the season. And obviously it kind of started crumbling when we started getting injuries. Now, I'm not going to blame that 100% as to why the Cardinals crumbled, but that's those answers that we need to figure out. We can't have an offense that's completely dependent that much on DeAndre Hopkins, because as you can tell, DeAndre Hopkins was never hurt in his career at all. The moment he came to the Cardinals, he obviously seem to be getting hurt now. Now, I'm not saying that, that sucks on DeAndre Hopkins. I'm just being real here. We got to have a backup plan. We got to have a contingency plan. We thought we had that in AJ Green. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. Most people didn't think AJ Green was going to be as productive as he was, but he wasn't going to be that guy that's going to be the leadership. He's not going to be the guy that DeAndre Hopkins when he goes down. We need a number 2 wide receiver that has great chemistry with Kyler Murray. And obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is just DeAndre Hopkins, man. This guy is a beast. So that's exactly the way that we should approach the draft and free agency. Now, free agency is going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be very interesting to see. We have some wide receivers out there that's possibly a play for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, we need to find out how much money we actually have and how they're going to be able to disperse it. If free agents think that this is going to be the destination that they want to play with the new up and rising, superstar in a lot of our eyes, a lot of Cardinal fans' eyes. If they really want to do that, then hey, they can come to the Arizona Cardinals. Hey, we got great weather. We got wonderful weather. I mean, our winters are magnificent. Our summers are scorching, but just stay indoors in your AC and you'll be all right. Don't go hiking in the summer. Don't be dumb. But going back to the whole situation is, are we going to be the premier spot for free agents to come over? I don't know. We'll see. Now, me personally, but before we dive into I want this player, I want that player, we can consider this, because I'll promise you here, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about that verbatim. We're going to be talking all sorts of free agents, especially since it's going to be starting here pretty soon. I need to figure out who's going to be available. I need to figure out how much cap space we have to kind of get a bigger picture in terms of what we're going to be looking like. Because AJ Green, Christian Kirk, although a lot of people probably don't want Christian Kirk gone, because I think he's going to be a really good number 3 wide receiver. What I feel like he's going to get paid, because he was almost a 1,000-yard receiver this last year. Let's not forget that. Almost a 1,000-yard wide receiver. He's got to get paid, in my personal opinion. I think some team is going to probably pay him upwards of 10 to 12 to maybe 13 million a year. Now, is that in the budget of the Arizona Cardinals? Probably not, especially if you want to bring back Chandler Jones, especially if you want to bring back Zach Ertz, especially if you want to bring back Max Williams. Well, we got a lot of players that we really need to consider and take our looks ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, what do we need to do? How are we going to build this team out? We got a lot of great stuff here coming, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited here. Very excited to see what this is going to look like here. Let's go ahead and take it to the comments here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so very much. We got my guy Bass in the house. Says, we need physicality. Tired of us getting bullied. Facts, bro. 100%. 100%. And I wouldn't be mad, honestly, this year in the draft, if we go defensive lineman, if we go offensive lineman, whether the guard or a tackle, I wouldn't be mad. I really wouldn't. I think we need those pieces on our team. I really do. I really do. But I agree. The physicality needs to work for sure. What's going on? Says, what's up? Yeah, we're doing good, man. Thanks for showing. Appreciate you being here. We got Cameron saying our wide receiving core is good. They just need more practice together. Well, that's what Michael Bidwill is kind of seeming to talk about during his interview when we were listening together, that he's excited that this year is going to be one of the first times that we're going to have the full offseason. Obviously, with everything that's going on in the world, it was very condensed. It was very short. But now that we're going to have a full offseason, which in my personal opinion, it's a little of an excuse, but let's see how it's going to come out. We were 7-0. We were a 10-2 team at one point. So let's just hopefully trust see the next step from the 11-win team that we were to maybe a 13-win team to maybe a 14-win team, and really have Kyler Murray take that extra step. And in my personal opinion, what does Kyler Murray need to do? Watch some film, man. Just watch them. Just do it. Just watch the film, please. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's keep reading on to the comments here. We're negative 800. Oh, sheesh. We're negative 8. Oh, yeah. I don't know how we're going to be aggressive. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that could be done. Everybody says the cap is a myth, which I'm kind of leaning that way with, the Saints, how crazy of a, like it's crazy how bad and how deep the Saints were, over the cap. And I'm assuming if you really do the numbers for the Rams, they're probably in the same position as well. That team's going to look different as well. There's a lot of people that want to be paid on that team, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to retain all that talent. But let's keep on reading to the comments here. If we aren't going to use Isabella as a speed guy alongside Moore, then trade him for a pick. My problem with that, or it's not a problem, it's just I don't even know what Andy will actually go for anymore. If I felt like if they really thought that Rondale Moore was going to be their guy, they really should have humored the fact of trading Andy Isabella to another team. His value has dropped so down right now. And to be a second round pick it sucks. It sucks as a Cardinal fan. Let's keep on reading to the comments here. I would be glad to ring back Kirk for the right price. Trade a second and a fourth for Calvin. I'm assuming Calvin Ridley, and not sign or draft a wide receiver. Calvin Ridley wouldn't be bad, bro. That wouldn't be bad at all, honestly. And trading a second and a fourth, that wouldn't be bad at all, man. We would have our first round pick, maybe get somebody in the trenches, even wide receiver or defensive lineman. Hey, did I say wide receiver? Oh my god, I meant offensive lineman or defensive lineman. If we did go that route, I wouldn't honestly mind getting Calvin Ridley. That would be pretty cool. But we also need cornerback, guys. We also need cornerback as well. That's going to be that's going to be very interesting to see how we're going to come out with that. Let's keep on reading into the comments here. Hopefully, we pick up some good draft picks this year that actually are going to make an impact. I agree. What do you think Kyler Murray's new contract is going to be, bro? Honestly, Kyler Murray's new contract. Here's the thing: if you're going to pay your quarterback, you need to pay what market is. You need to. And being that Kyler Murray has gone through the Pro Bowl twice, was the offensive rookie of the year in his first year, and he took the Arizona Cardinals to the playoffs. I feel like the Arizona Cardinals are in a kind of a position that they don't have an option but to pay him. And I'm not sure if he's going to get Patrick Mahomes money, but I do think either very high 30s or in the 40s for Kyler Murray. And that can either work out very well for Arizona Cardinals, or that can not work out well for the Arizona Cardinals, because in order for us to bring the pieces to Kyler Murray, we need money. We need money. And we know how Steve Keim builds teams out, and so far I'm not impressed. Let's keep on reading to the comments. Trent McDuffie, bro. I know we'll talk about draft. I promise we will talk about drafts. We will. Ridley and Hopkins would be beautiful. I agree. CD Lamb, baby Kyler wants him and needs him. I agree. I don't know how long you've been rocking with the AZ Sports fan here, but I've been talking about CD Lamb for quite some time, and it's actually very disgusting how much I was talking about him, especially during that draft. Bass says, we need everything besides quarterback. We even need a new GM. Oh, that's facts, bro. That's complete facts. Bro, I was like Kyler. I legit shrugged all the Cardinals pages and whatnot because I was really upset on how we played in the playoffs. Good to be back in your comments talking. What's up? Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much. You got a place to go, man. If you want to talk anything Cardinals, man, this is the place to be. I appreciate you for coming through, man. Thank you. BBH coming up again with another comment says, I heard reports that the Cardinals want Chase Claypool or at least targeting him. Hey, honestly, I would rather have Chase Claypool than have Juju. Nothing personal against him. I don't feel like his heart is completely in football. In my personal opinion, I would love Chase Claypool, but I think that would have to be a trade, right? I don't think his contract is quite 100% done, but yeah, we'll see. Once I get everything, once I get like all the lists and stuff like that, we'll talk about it. I'm excited. The only problem with Kyler is that he's injury prone, and that's the problem too, man. Every year we've had Kyler, he's been hurt, and I think that's kind of one of the spots that I want to see Kyler a whole year healthy. And will we see that? I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. But as Cardinal fans, as a Cardinal organization, they put themselves in this position. Literally, we are bent over a barrel, and we kind of have to at this point. Because if you really look at it, who's available? Jimmy G? Nobody wants Jimmy G. Although, respect to him and everything that he's done within the, San Francisco 49ers, he does win over there. So I'll give him kudos to that. But if you're going to ask somebody, do you want Kyler or Jimmy G? It's going to be a no-brainer. You're going to get Kyler Murray. Look at the rest of the people that's going to be available. The draft, there's nobody in the draft quarterback heavy. There's nobody out there. Free agents, nobody. You can't get a trade out there right now. You can't get Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants $50 million a year, ladies and gentlemen. $50 million a year. Yeah, $50 million a year. There's reports saying out there that he wants that. What? No way. Well, we don't even know what our cap space looks like. And I know there's rumors saying Russell Wilson might get traded out of the Seahawks. That would be a blessing for the Cardinals in the NFC West. Honestly, I agree. Raphael, what's up, man? Super chat coming in. Appreciate you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. This game is won in the trenches. Get O-linemen and our running backs the ball, and Kyler can do his job. Get a defensive lineman, and our corners will play. Will make plays that make them look better than they actually are. I hear your point. 100%. 100% to your point. Now, if you don't know what he's talking about, if you have a great defensive line, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a great defensive line, the pressure on the quarterbacks is going to make them do something very silly. It's going to make them do something very silly, and then our defense can capitalize. Or we just sack them on the floor. But you're right, 100%. Because the more time a quarterback has in the pocket, has more opportunity to find a weapon out there. You know what I mean? Give somebody 5 seconds or 4 or 5 seconds. That's a lot of time for a quarterback. A lot of time for a quarterback. I agree. I feel like we got to get better in a lot of spots. I mean, that's the problem. Like, if I look at two big pieces right now, two big pieces on the defensive side of the ball. Our defensive line, I do feel like it needs to get better. What happens when Chandler Jones, if he doesn't come back with us? What happens if JJ Watt gets hurt again? You know what I mean? So defensive line, I feel like we need to get it. A cornerback, we need to get that as well. And we were talking about that last offseason, ladies and gentlemen. You know how upset I was in the draft when we didn't draft a cornerback? Now, granted, I get the cornerbacks probably don't look the best out there right now. Patrick Surtain probably looks the best. I know Horn ended up going and getting hurt. But I would rather had a cornerback in the first round learning and getting some reps out there because we obviously needed it. We had Marco Wilson out there, for Christ's sake. He looked really good in the beginning, but he started to kind of tail off, and his rookiness really kind of started showing. You know what I mean? So I hope that this whole best player available going into the draft is really kind of look into a microscope, because best player available is honestly very subjective, ladies and gentlemen. It's very subjective. Your best player available is completely different from this person's. This person is completely different from that person. Steve Keim is a completely different person. He thought Xavier Collins was the best player available, and he didn't see the field at all. So, I agree. I wouldn't be mad if we got somebody in the trenches offensively, on the offensive side of the ball, so offensive line or the defensive line. I wouldn't be mad at all. Actually, I would like it. It's not flashy. It's not great. It's not something that people are like, oh my God, you see, this offensive lineman we got, he's the next Joe Thomas, bro. People don't make videos about offensive linemen. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. When was the last time you clicked on a video and said, this guy is the next Hall of Famer offensive lineman? Like, right? Like, let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, nobody wants that, but it's what we need. It's what we need. Now, before the draft even starts, free agency is first. Let's see what our team looks like in free agency first, and let's see how aggressive this Arizona Cardinal team is really going to play out. We'll see. Drake London, 50-50 guy. I agree. Be red, see red. I agree. There's some people that say he might not last until the 23rd pick. If you guys don't know, we are sitting at the 23rd overall pick right now. Somebody asked me earlier, do I think, or would I kind of take a page in the book of, the Rams, trading away your picks to get known commodities out there? My first rounder, probably not. But if you were to tell me I can get Calvin Ridley for a second rounder and maybe another late round pick, maybe a fifth rounder, or just a second rounder in general, here you go. Here's my second rounder. Yes, I would like that very much. Thank you. We're not good in the draft, ladies and gentlemen. We're not good in the draft. So Calvin Ridley would be a blessing. Honestly, that would be great. Let's keep it going here. We should have taken Greg Newsome. Dude, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I know a lot of people wouldn't like that at that moment because of he was undersized in terms of a cornerback of what he's like 5'10", something like that. And a lot of people want, taller quarterbacks, but I wouldn't have minded Greg Newsome, bro. Not lying to you. I wouldn't have minded it. I was actually probably thinking about Caleb Farley, but this whole injury scare, a lot of people were really didn't want to touch it. And, Steve Keim maybe not wanted to go that route. Greg Newsome would have been an amazing addition. I think that would have been great. Is rookiness a word? Probably not. Probably not. Let's keep on reading into the comments here. Who do you think the Cardinals will get in this offseason? Well, I can tell you what positions we need. And I can only kind of really speak to free agency right now just because it's first. And then obviously we have the draft right after. But if we take a look at possible free agents, it's so crazy because I don't know exactly where the mindset of Steve Keim's mind is. I really don't. It's super trippy to me. I try to get into the mind of Steve Keim and be like, hey, what do you think he will do? I don't know what this guy is gonna do. I really don't. But if I were to guess in positions that we need, and I feel like I would hope that we can address a cornerback. If we could somehow get a really good cornerback out there, whether you say it's a veteran, whether you say it's J.C. Jackson, whatever the situation is, whoever, I think cornerback we need to invest. We need to invest in on the both sides of the trenches, offensive lineman and defensive lineman. And then wide receiver number 2. That still hasn't gone away. I don't think A.J. Green's coming back. I don't think Christian Kirk is coming back. I think he's going to get paid like a number 2 wide receiver to another team, and he's going to look very, very good on another team. I promise you, bold take here. I think Christian Kirk will excel in another team. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but there was whispering saying that Josh Allen is trying to recruit Christian Kirk. Dude, that would be crazy. That would be an awesome weapon for Josh Allen. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of interesting names in the free agency market right now. A lot of interesting names. Chris Godwin, Mike Williams, OBJ, possibly, Michael Gallup, Allen Robinson, DJ Chark, Juju Smith-Schuster, John Ross. Oof, that guy. There's a lot. But I don't think we have the money to pay that. That's the problem. I don't think we have the money to pay those big free agent names, like those big free agent wide receivers, like your Devontae Adams, like your Chris Godwins, maybe Mike Williams, maybe not OBJ. Allen Robinson, I'm not quite 100% sure exactly what he wants. I'm assuming he wants to get paid, and rightfully so. I mean, he's been a very good wide receiver in my personal opinion. So we'll see. Offensive linemen that are possibly available, Terran Armstead, Ryan Jensen, but he's a center, so we don't need a center. Orlando Brown, Brandon Sheriff, Trent Brown. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but how can we really build out here? Like, I don't have the confidence in Steve Keim. I really don't. And I think that the last thing I'm going to do, unless it's a player that I really want, if you see like draft videos out there and say this guy's the next best thing, let's pump our brakes real quick, because honestly, a lot of these draft prospects that are coming into the NFL, most time than not, they don't pan out. More times than not, they do not pan out. So I'm excited. This offseason is going to be exciting. We will see what happens here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's read a few more comments, and then we will call it a night. I appreciate you guys for rocking with the AZ Sports Fan here. I know it's a Friday night. I know a lot of people got your own lives, and you got everything else to do. So appreciate you guys for coming in here. Let's keep on reading to the comments. Just a few more comments, and then we'll call it a night. We have, I hate AJ Green after a game he walked right by me. Wait, I hate AJ Green. After a game he walked right by me, though I was the one of the people left in the stadium. He walked right by me without signing a thing. I was begging him to. Oh, sheesh. Well, that's terrible. I thought you were going to say you hate him after the whole Green Bay not looking back catch, but okay. We all got our reasons, I guess. Get beef up front for, yeah, I agree. 100%. I agree. Trade for Calvin from the Falcons. I like that idea. Yeah, we need to build from the trenches. We do. Obviously, we've seen Kyler Murray look the way that he looked, and I don't like him being harassed that much. I really don't. It hurts him not being healthy through a season. It helps him, or it hurts him not having time in the pocket. And sometimes he's making magical plays and good stuff like that, but that's not very consistent. Like, we can't see him every single play do a magical play like that. Like, we need to have some consistency on Kyler Murray. We need to get him some weapons. We need to get him some protection, ladies and gentlemen. So appreciate you guys for sticking through. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate everybody for hanging out here on this beautiful Friday evening, talking all things Arizona Cardinals. We'll be covering the draft. We'll be covering free agency. We'll be talking everything here, Arizona Cardinals. Appreciate you guys for coming through. As always, have a great rest of your night, everybody, and go Cards.